It was a cold, quiet morning. The sky was gray and soft rain fell over the empty graveyard. The wind moved gently through the trees, and the only sound was the footsteps of a man walking alone. David walked slowly between the graves, holding a small bouquet of white flowers in his hand. His coat was wet from the rain, but he didn't seem to care. His face looked tired. His eyes were red not just from the cold, but from crying the night before. He stopped in front of a grave, simple, clean, and freshly made. The stone read, Emily. Rose Carter, 1987 to 2024, forever loved, never forgotten. David stared at the stone for a long time. Then he knelt down and placed the flowers gently on the ground. Hey, he said softly. His voice was shaking. He waited, as if she might answer. I thought I was ready for this, he continued, but I'm not. I still feel like you're going to call me. Or walk through the door like nothing happened. Rain dripped from his hair as he closed his eyes. I miss you, every second, every breath. His voice broke. David sat on the grass beside the grave and looked up at the sky. He remembered her laugh, the way she used to sing in the kitchen, the way she held his hand when they watched movies. Everything felt like a dream now, a dream that ended too soon. She died in an accident, a car crash. Too fast, too sudden. No goodbye. He never got to say goodbye, until today. I'm sorry, he whispered. I wasn't there when you needed me. I should have picked you up that day. I should have. A soft wind blew past him. He felt it, a hand on his shoulder. He froze, slowly. Very slowly, David turned around. A woman stood behind him, her hair wet from the rain. Her eyes wide, her lips slightly open. She looked at him. With a strange mix of fear and sadness, David blinked. No. He whispered, this can't be. It was Emily. She was standing right in front of him. Alive. He backed away, heart pounding. Who? Who are you? What is this? David, she said. Her voice was soft, familiar, too familiar. It's me. His hands shook. His breath came fast. This is not possible, he said. I buried you. I saw you in that hospital. You were dead. Emily took a step forward. I don't have much time. They'll find me soon. David stared at her, confused and scared. Who? What's going on? I wasn't supposed to come. Here, she said, looking around nervously. But I had to see you. I had to say something. David looked into her eyes. They were the same eyes he had loved, the same voice, the same face, but something was different. She seemed distant, like she wasn't fully there. Are you real? He asked. She hesitated. I don't know anymore. What does that mean? He demanded. What are you? I'm Emily, she said. But not the one you knew, not exactly. Thunder rumbled in the sky above. David looked around. The graveyard was still empty, still quiet. But suddenly the silence didn't feel peaceful. It felt dangerous. I don't understand, he said. You will, she said. But not here, not now. Emily reached out and touched his hand. Her skin was warm, real. David gasped. It felt real. I'll come back for you, she said. Then she turned and walked away, quickly, disappearing into the fog and trees. David stood frozen for a long time, heart beating fast, mind full of questions. He looked back at the grave. It was still there. Still real. He wasn't dreaming. She was alive, or at least something that looked like her, and she said she would come back. David didn't sleep that night. He sat in his living room, eyes fixed on the front door, waiting for something or someone to return. His hands shook as he held a cup of coffee, but it had gone cold hours ago. The rain outside had stopped. But inside his head, the storm kept raging. Emily was alive, or something that looked like her. Was it a dream? A ghost? A trick of the mind? But he felt her. Her hand had touched his. She had spoken to him, and her voice, it was hers. The same voice that whispered, I love you, every night before bed. The same voice that was taken from him in a car crash, but she said she wasn't the same. Those words haunted him. Next morning, David heard a knock. Not on the door, on the window. He jumped, heart racing. Outside stood Emily, same wet hair, same eyes, same calm face. But this time, she wasn't nervous. She looked determined. He opened the door slowly. You came back? He said. I said I would, she replied. He looked at her carefully, like trying to solve a puzzle. Where have you been? What are you? This doesn't make any sense. I'll explain, she said. But not here, it's not safe. David hesitated. Emily reached for his hand. Please, David, trust me one more time. Her touch was warm again, human. Against all logic, against all fear. He followed her. They drove far outside the city, past farms, hills, and forests. Finally, they stopped near an old factory half buried in trees. The place looked abandoned. But Emily walked straight in, like she had been there 100 times. Inside, it was quiet, dusty, broken glass covered the floor. But deeper inside, past metal doors and dark halls, the air changed. The walls became clean, white, and smooth. Lights turned on by themselves. David whispered, "What is this place?" Emily looked back. It was called Project Rebirth. They entered a wide room. Machines lined the walls, blinking, humming softly. In the center stood a strange capsule. It was large enough to hold a person. "This is where they brought me back," she said. David stared at her. "Brought you back? You were dead, Emily. I saw your body." She nodded. "You're right, I did die." "Then how?" "They had a backup." David blinked. "A what?" Emily turned to a screen. Images appeared, scans of her brain, DNA. Samples, digital files. They recorded my mind. Memories, thoughts, even emotions, stored them using alien technology they found years ago. David stepped back. "You're saying you're a copy?" "No," she said. "I'm more than a copy. I remember being me. I feel like me, but there's something else inside too. Something they didn't expect." "What do you mean?" Emily hesitated. "When they revived me, they used alien tech they didn't fully understand. My memory was mixed with something from out there." David felt cold. "You're saying you're part alien?" She nodded slowly, not in body, but in mind. "There are pieces, strange thoughts, dreams I don't recognize, languages I never learned. Something else is inside me." David sat down, shaking his head. "Why you? Why bring you back?" Emily looked away. "Because I was their test subject. I signed up years ago, before I met you. I had no idea it would lead to this." David stared at her. "So, used your death as an opportunity?" "Yes," she said. "And now they want me back? Why?" "Because I'm the only living subject, and I know too much. I escaped." "But they're hunting me." David stood up. "Then we need to run. We need to tell someone." "No," she said firmly. "We can't trust anyone. They control everything, hospitals, police, media. They'll erase you like they erased." Silence filled the room. David looked into her eyes. "Are you really Emily?" She didn't answer at first. Then she said softly, "I don't know. I remember loving you. I remember our first kiss, our wedding, how you snore a little when you're sick. But sometimes I hear things in my head, voices, images I don't understand. I'm afraid I'll change." David stepped closer. He touched her face. It felt real. "You're here now," he said. "That's enough for me." Suddenly, the lights flickered. Emily froze. "They found us." A loud hum began to rise. Doors locked. Red lights blinked. "We have to leave, now," she said. They ran out of the lab and into the woods, just before black drones swarmed the factory, scanning every inch. As they hid under the trees, breathing hard, David asked, "What do they want from you?" Emily turned to him, eyes glowing slightly in the dark. "They want to control what's inside me," she said. "And if they do, the world will never be the same." The forest was silent now. David and Emily sat beneath a fallen tree, hidden by leaves and shadows. The night had swallowed the sky, and the hum of drones had faded into the distance. But danger still hung in the air, thick, invisible, and waiting. David looked at Emily. Her face was calm, but her eyes never stopped moving. She was listening, watching, thinking like someone who had been hunted before. "They almost caught us," he said, still breathing hard. "They will try again," she replied. "And next time they won't miss." David ran his fingers through his hair. Why is this happening? You didn't do anything wrong. Emily looked at the stars. I exist. That's the crime. As morning light broke through the trees, Emily led David to a small cabin deep in the woods. It looked abandoned, but inside it was clean, a hidden shelter with food, clothes, and tools. Did you build this? He asked. No, she said. It was built by someone who helped me escape. David sat by the window, confused. I need answers. Real answers. No more running? Emily nodded. She sat across from him and began to speak. Years ago, a signal came from deep space. A strange frequency, not like radio, not like anything Earth had seen before. Governments ignored it, but a private group didn't. They followed it. David listened closely. They found something in the Arctic. A ship, crashed, buried under the ice for thousands of years. A spaceship? David asked. Emily nodded. Half destroyed. But inside was a machine still alive. Still. Thinking, what kind of machine? They called it the neurocore. It wasn't just a computer. It could copy minds, memories, thoughts. It could store an entire person, or create one. David stared at her. And they used it on you. Yes, she said. I was one of the volunteers. They didn't tell us everything. They said it. It was for science, for future medical use, or deep space travel. I agreed. But you died, David said. And then what? They activated the machine, she said. It used my last brain scan and rebuilt me. Cell by cell, memory by memory. But something went wrong. David leaned forward. What went wrong? The neurocore was damaged. It had been copying alien minds long before it reached Earth. Somehow, during my rebirth, it mixed one of those minds with mine. David's throat felt dry. So you're two people? Emily shook her head. Not two. Not separate. One, my mind is mine, but there are shadows inside it. Feelings I don't understand. Knowledge I didn't learn. And sometimes, I hear a voice. A voice? She nodded. It speaks in a language I don't know, but somehow I still understand. David stood up, nervous. What does it say? Emily looked away. It tells me things about other worlds. About technology, about what's coming. What is coming? She met his eyes. A signal was sent the moment the neurocore was activated again. I think something out there knows I'm alive, and it might be coming back. David felt cold. You're saying this alien, this being, it could return to Earth? Emily stood up slowly. Not it, a whole race. And they may not be friendly. Silence filled the room again. David walked to the window. The forest looked peaceful. But he didn't feel safe. So the group that brought you back, they know about this? They found the tech, she said. But they don't understand it. They just want control. They think if they can study me, they can unlock alien knowledge, weapons, science, maybe even immortality. And if they fail? David asked. Then? They destroy me and erase everything. David turned back to her. We have to stop them. There's one way, she said. We go to the source. We find the neurocore. You know where it is? She nodded. Yes, it was moved to an underground base, hidden from the world. But I remember the path, the alien memories. They show me. Then let's go, David said. Emily looked at him carefully. It won't be easy. It's guarded, sealed, trapped. I don't care, he said. If it helps you, I'm in. Emily smiled for the first time, but before they could move, a sharp sound broke the air, a high-pitched whine. David froze. What was that? Emily grabbed his hand. They found us. Outside, black drones were already circling. Lights. Scanned the trees. Footsteps echoed through the woods. They're here, she whispered, and they won't take me alive. As they ran into the trees again, David looked back at the cabin. It was already burning. He held on to Emily's hand tightly. In that moment, he didn't care what she was. Alien or human, real or reborn, she was still his Emily, but deep in his mind, one question burned. Was she changing more than she knew? Darkness returned as David and Emily ran deeper into the woods. The trees were tall and close together. Branches scraped David's arms. The forest floor was wet and full of fallen leaves, but they didn't stop. Behind them, red lights flashed through the trees. The drones were back, and they weren't alone. David could hear the sound of heavy boots, men, soldiers. Emily pulled him faster. She moved like she knew the forest, like her feet remembered paths her brain had never walked. "We can't keep running forever," David whispered. "We don't have to," she said. "We just, need to reach the ridge." David didn't ask why. He trusted her now, even if he didn't understand everything she had become. They reached a rocky hill just as dawn touched the sky. Emily dropped to her knees and pulled back moss and dirt, revealing a small square hatch made of metal. It had alien markings, not letters, but glowing lines that moved like water. She placed her hand on the surface. The lines turned blue. The hatch opened with a soft hiss. David looked down into a tunnel, dark and cold. "What is this place?" he asked. "An emergency route," she said, "a forgotten one. It connects to old research stations from the project. They don't know it still works." They climbed down quickly and closed the hatch behind them. Above, the drones circled the trees, missing them by minutes. Inside, the tunnel was narrow and quiet. The walls were smooth metal. There were no lights, only a soft glow from the markings that lit up as they moved forward. David noticed Emily wasn't breathing hard. She looked calm, steady, like running all night didn't affect her at all. He hesitated. "You're not tired?" Emily stopped walking. "No," she said. "I haven't felt tired since I woke up. That's not normal." "I know." She looked down at her hands. "Sometimes I feel like I'm getting stronger, but it's not just physical." David stepped closer. "What else?" "I can hear things, machines before they power up. I can sense movement in the walls. And sometimes I think I know what people are going to say before they speak." David didn't speak. Emily turned to him. "I don't know how much of me is still me." "You're still you," David said quickly. "I see it in your eyes." She nodded but didn't smile. Hours later they reached a large room. It looked like a control center, dusty and dead. Broken chairs, dark screens, and old computers covered in wires. Emily sat at a console and touched a small round device. Alien, not man-made. Suddenly, the room lit up. Screens turned on, lights hummed. David jumped back. "You did that?" "No," she said. "It did. It recognizes me." On the main screen, a map appeared. David saw something marked deep underground, a blinking blue dot. "That's the neurocore?" he asked. Emily nodded. "The heart of the ship, still alive, still connected to me." David stared at the screen. "And they want it. They want to study it, control it. But if they activate it again," she stopped. David waited. "What happens?" "It won't listen to them," she said. "It will protect its own kind." "You mean the alien race?" "Yes. And if they come, Earth won't be ready." Suddenly, the screen turned red. Warning signs flashed. "Motion detected." "They found the tunnel," Emily said. A loud bang echoed down the hall. "They're breaching the door," David said. Emily moved fast. She pulled a small device from her bag, a sphere with glowing symbols. "What is that?" "Defense system. Alien design. Is it a weapon?" "Only if I let it be." She placed it on the floor. The sphere floated slightly, then expanded. A shimmering wall of energy grew between them and the hallway. A moment later, soldiers burst in, rifles raised. But the energy shield stopped them cold. One man stepped forward. His voice was loud. "Angry. Subject Echo 1, he shouted. "You are to surrender immediately." David turned to Emily. "Echo 1? "My code name," she said softly. "You were there first." "Their only success," she replied. The soldier shouted again. "Disable the shield or we open fire." Emily walked toward the barrier. Her eyes were glowing faintly now, silver, with a flicker of blue. "You don't understand what you're playing with," she said. "We understand more than you think." "No," she said. "You understand control, fear, power, but not life. Not consciousness? Not what the core really is." "Turn yourself in," the soldier demanded, "or we take the boy." David froze. Emily's face changed. Her voice dropped. Calm and cold. If you touch him, this planet will learn what extinction looks like. For a second, the lights in the room pulsed. Every screen turned white. The air grew heavy, like electricity before a storm. David stepped back, staring at her. Emily, are you okay? She blinked. The glow in her eyes faded. She turned to him, breathing hard. I'm sorry, she whispered. That wasn't me. Yes, he said. It was. But it's not the you I know. The soldiers retreated. The shield held, but something had changed in Emily. She looked at her hands again. Then she looked at David. I'm scared. She said. He didn't know what to say because so was he. Emily sat alone in the corner of the old control room. The screens had gone dark again. The glowing alien sphere hummed quietly beside her, like it was asleep. David watched her from a distance. Unsure if he should come closer, she hadn't spoken. In over an hour, since she had made the air tremble, since her voice had changed, since the soldiers had backed away in fear, not from weapons but from her, she wasn't the same anymore. And David couldn't pretend he didn't notice. He walked over slowly. Hey, she didn't move. He sat beside her. You okay? Her voice was quiet. I don't know, he nodded. That's fair. There was a long silence. Emily looked at her hands, pale, strong, steady. They didn't tremble like David's did. She hadn't eaten or slept in 2 days, yet she felt normal. No, not normal. Better than normal. I feel powerful, she said finally. David looked at her carefully. Is that a bad thing? It is when the power isn't yours, she whispered. He frowned. What do you mean? I keep seeing memories, not mine. Stars collapsing, worlds burning, creatures made of light. I see war across galaxies. David froze, and sometimes I like it. Emily stood up and walked to the dark screen. She touched it. Instantly, it turned on. A line of alien script moved across the display. David couldn't read it, but Emily could. It's a list, she said. Names, codes, subjects. She pressed one. A blurry image appeared. A girl, young, maybe 16, inside a chamber. Wires attached to her head. Eyes wide with fear. David. Step forward. Who is she? She was the first test, Emily said. Before me. What happened to her? She didn't survive. David's stomach turned. How many were there? Emily clicked again. Another face. Then another, and another. They stopped at 32, she said. I was number 33, and the only one who lived. No, she said. I didn't live. I changed. Suddenly, one of the screens flashed red, a message in English, neural activity spiking. HOS develop at 61%. David read it slowly. What does that mean? Emily's voice was flat. The alien memory is taking over. It's blending with mine. Is there a way to stop it? I don't think so. David stepped closer. You're still you, Emily. I know it. She looked at him. Am I? He didn't answer. She continued. Last night, when they threatened you, I didn't feel fear. I felt anger and control. I wanted them to be afraid of me. You were protecting me, David said. But I didn't feel like me, she said. It felt natural, easy, like I could burn them all down and not feel a thing. David looked into her eyes. They were human. But underneath the surface, something glowed. Something not of this world. Emily turned away. You should leave. What? You're not safe with me anymore. I'm not going anywhere. You don't understand, David. I'm changing. Every hour, something inside me grows stronger, louder. I don't know how long I can hold it back. David stepped forward and gently took her hand. Then let me help you fight it. She looked at him, eyes full of fear. What if I lose? Then I lose with you, he said. But I won't leave. Suddenly, the screen blinked again. A message in alien code. Emily's eyes widened. Another one is awake. Another. What? David asked. She pressed a button. A small video feed opened, security cam footage from a hidden lab. A young man sat inside a glass chamber, eyes closed. Chest rising slowly. He's like me, Emily said. Alive? Yes, or almost. They were preparing him for connection. David read the lab's location. That's only 20 miles from here. They'll move him soon, Emily said, or use him as bait. David looked at her. We have to get him out. Emily hesitated. What if he's not like me? Then we stop him, together. Emily grabbed a small device from the table. A strange bracelet-like object. Is that a weapon? David asked. No, a translator, she said, for him. In case he wakes up. Speak in their language. She slid it onto her wrist and took a deep breath. Are you ready? David asked. No, she said, but I don't have a choice. They left the control room, heading into the forest again. As they walked, David asked, Why do you think? They chose you? Emily paused. I used to think it was random. A contract, a trial, an accident, but now I think they saw something I didn't see in myself. Like what? She looked at him. Capacity. For what? He asked. She didn't answer. As they reached the edge of the trees, the hidden lab came into view. White tents. Guard towers. Armed men, but David wasn't looking at them. He was looking at Emily. She was calm, focused. Her skin seemed to glow faintly. Under the moonlight. Not bright, but unnatural, he whispered. Are you scared? Emily looked at the lab. I'm scared of what I'll do, if they hurt you. The lab looked quiet from a distance, but Emily knew better. She and David lay flat on the hill above the hidden facility. From behind the tall grass, they watched white tents, metal buildings, and guards moving in tight patterns. Floodlights scanned the area. Black drones buzzed in the sky. In the center was a large, dome-shaped building, the chamber. He's in. There, Emily said, pointing. David stared at it. How can you tell? I don't know, she said. I just feel it. Like, my mind reaches out and something answers. He looked at her. That's part of them, isn't it? She nodded. The connection is growing stronger. They waited until the lights shifted, then moved through the shadows. Emily didn't need a map. She moved like she already knew the layout, her steps silent, sure. As if someone else's memories guided her feet. Inside the dome, it was cold. The air smelled like metal and chemicals. The boy was inside a glass pod, just like hers. He looked 16, thin, pale, still sleeping. Cables were attached to his head and chest. His hands twitched. He's not stable, Emily said. They started to sink. He's halfway between human and something else. Can you stop it? David asked. I can try. She walked to the control panel. Her fingers moved over buttons, symbols glowing as she touched them. Suddenly, her eyes widened. She froze. What is it? David asked. I know him. David blinked. What? I don't know how, she whispered. But I've seen his face, in my dreams, on a ship, floating in space. He was beside me, not human, not exactly. She turned to David, voice shaking. He's not just another subject. He's part of the memory inside me. Suddenly alarms blared. Red lights flashed. They found us. David shouted. Emily turned back to the panel. I need time. Guards poured into the hallway. David ran to the door, slammed it shut, and pushed a heavy table in front of it. The lock sparked. Emily focused. Her eyes glowed faintly. Her voice changed, speaking in a language David didn't understand. The glass pod began to hum. The boy opened his eyes. They were solid silver. He gasped. Not in fear, but like someone waking from a deep sleep. His voice came out strange, layered. Where am I? Emily answered him, not in English. The two spoke quickly. Their voices echoed, calm, distant, not quite human. David couldn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. Call on recognition. Kinship. Danger. Then the boy turned to David. You are the anchor, he said in a strange accent. David blinked. What? The one she stays human for? Emily looked down. He's right. The boy stood up. His body moved oddly, stiff, controlled, like he wasn't fully used to it. We must go, he said. They come with fire. The door burst open. Guards rushed in. The boy raised one hand. Without touching anything, the lights exploded. Every screen shattered. The walls shook. Emily grabbed David's hand. This way. They ran through a side hallway as the boy followed, eyes glowing. Power pulsing in waves from his body, the building began to collapse. They burst into the forest, sirens wailing behind them. Far from the lab, they stopped to catch their breath. David. looked at the boy. What's your name? The boy paused. Subject 9. No, Emily said softly. That's not who you are. She stepped closer. I remember now, she whispered. Your name was Kale. You were the one who volunteered. The first to link with the core. Kale nodded slowly. You were chosen after me. We were meant to guide Earth together. A silent arrival, a peaceful union. David looked between them. Union? What does that mean? Emily turned to him. The alien species that created the core. They were dying. Their bodies couldn't survive. So they searched for minds across space. Human minds. Minds that could hold their memory, their purpose. They wanted to live through us? David asked. They didn't want war, she said. They wanted legacy, but our government didn't understand. They turned it into an experiment. They broke the rules. Kale nodded. Now, the rest of the alien minds are waking. And they will not forget. David looked at Emily. Are they still inside you? Yes, she said, but I'm stronger now. I can keep control. But others might not. She looked at Kale. You felt it too, didn't you? Kale's face darkened. There's pain, rage, memories of betrayal. Some want peace. Others want revenge. David swallowed hard. So what happens now? Emily looked toward the stars. If the core fully activates, it will call them the others? She nodded. The ones still in sleep, waiting in orbit, or buried deep underground. Kale added, if we can't guide them, humanity will not survive the arrival. Cold wind blew through the trees. David took Emily's hand. Then we have to stop it, he said. We have to choose, she whispered. Choose what? She looked at him, her voice soft but heavy. To be human, or to become something more. The air above the forest shimmered. Something had changed. Emily stood at the edge of a cliff, staring into the sky. The stars seemed closer than before, brighter, sharper. She could feel them, not just see them, like they were calling her home, but Earth was her home, wasn't it? Behind her, David and Kale waited in silence. The message had been received, the one sent by the core. It was too late to stop it. The others were coming. They'll arrive in 1 hour, Kale said, staring at the device in his hand. It pulsed blue with each passing second. David looked at Emily. Is there a way to stop them? She didn't answer right away. Her eyes were distant. There's a failsafe, she said finally. Inside me. David froze. What kind of failsafe? Kale looked at her sharply. You didn't tell him? Emily spoke calmly. If the host becomes unstable, or if the arrival could lead to war? The core built a shutdown code. David's voice broke. What does that mean? It means I can stop the signal. Emily said, but it comes with a cost. Kale finished the sentence. It will erase everything the core placed in you, all of it, including memories and your life. David stepped forward. There has to be another way. Emily turned to him. Her eyes were full of light, not glowing like before, but alive. Still her. There isn't, she whispered. This was always the plan. The core didn't want to invade Earth. It wanted to be remembered. It just chose the wrong people to trust. Wind moved through the trees as silence wrapped around them. Kale looked at Emily. If you do this, you'll end the link, but you'll also destroy what's left of us. I know, she said. And you're still willing? She looked at David. I am. They walked together to the clearing, the original site where Emily had first awakened. The artifact chamber lay in ruins, but its energy still pulsed below the ground. Emily knelt beside it. Her hand hovered over a faint circle carved into stone. It has to be my choice, she said. David knelt beside her. Let me carry some of it. You already did, she whispered. You kept me grounded. You reminded me who I was, even when I didn't know myself. Tears filled his eyes. You saved the world. Now let me save you. Emily smiled gently. You already have. Kale placed a small device on the stone. The circle lit up, symbols crawling across it like vines made of light. I'll hold off the drones, he said. Buy you a few more minutes. David looked up. What about after? Kale hesitated. I don't think I'll survive the disconnect. I wasn't meant to. He turned to Emily, and for the first time he looked sad. We were supposed to be something greater, he said. We still are, she replied, but not the way we thought. He nodded once, then disappeared into the trees. David and Emily sat quietly for a moment, then she said, I'm afraid. He held her hand. Me too. She leaned her head against his shoulder. Do you remember our first kiss? She asked. Yes, he said. You were cold. Your nose bumped mine. And you still kissed me. I'd do it again, he said softly. Every time, the countdown began. Lights around the circle blinked faster. Emily took a deep breath. If I don't remember you after this, she whispered, will you? Find me again? David's voice cracked. I'll find you. Even if I have to teach you to love me from the beginning. She turned and kissed him. Soft. Final. Real. She stepped into the center of the circle. Light rose around her like a storm. Made of stars? Her body lifted slightly, arms open, hair floating in the air. Her voice echoed through the trees. I am Emily Rose Carter. One choose humanity, I choose peace. The ground shook. A wave of energy exploded outward, silent and bright. The forest lit up like day. The stars above flickered and then dimmed. The signal was gone. The arrival was cancelled. David woke up on the ground. The circle now quiet and dark. Emily lay beside him. Still. He crawled to her, heart pounding. Emily? Her. Eyes fluttered open. He froze. She looked around, confused. Where am I? You're safe, he whispered. You're home. She blinked. Who are you? David's breath caught. Then he smiled. I'm someone who's very lucky to meet you again. Days passed. The threat was over. The core had gone silent. Cale was never found. Emily stayed in a small cabin near the forest, where the trees whispered and the stars no longer pulsed with alien light. She didn't remember the past, but she laughed again, ate ice cream. Sat beside David on cold mornings and watched the sky. One night, as they stargazed, she turned to him. I had a dream, she said. Oh? I was flying, not with wings, with thought. There were other voices, other stars, but I wasn't afraid, David smiled. Maybe dreams remember what we forget, she nodded. And in the dream, I saw you, just like now. He didn't answer. Instead, he took her hand, warm, human, and real.